Well, I decided to go live early, mostly because it's hot, it's sweaty, and this is a small study, so even with the window open, it's pretty much dead air. Anyway, the point of tonight's stream was going to be about stressors and the fact that we all have them. We all have different things that stress us out at different times for different reasons. And I was just having an interesting conversation with the cleric that reminded me of something. Oh, damn it. The stream is cutting, apparently. Hello, Chad. David, I think it's you. Can't be me. I can't be doing something wrong again. No, everything is plugged in properly. Is anybody else having a little stream issues, or is it just David? Well, I'm sweating like a fat man in a factory of sweets or something. So, where was I? Well, 3 of you. Good enough for me. It's like the Trinity. Although only a view with a thumbs up, 2 of them. There we go, 3 out of 3. Excellent. So, stressors, I was reminded of a conversation I had. I don't know how we got there, but anyway, I was talking with the cleric about all sorts of things, including some elements of philosophy, which I thought was quite funny. But, and David says, better now, don't stress. Well, good, I'll just keep dabbing at my sweaty forehead. See, that's what happens when you're as brilliant as I am. I mean, it's hot here. Today was a hot day, and it's a hot night. But yeah, so when I was still doing karate in South Africa, at one point we had some, I don't know, big competition. It was a national, international, I don't remember. And so our instructor like took all the black belts aside, and like we were going to be like the tip of the spear sort of thing for the whole thing. So he went through all of us and like, look, when you start to blink your eyes a lot, then I know that you're on point and that you're focused. There's other guys like you're good, you're technically very good, but you have to be a bit more aggressive, and And as he was going through the people, hello, Slanty Shafebe. I saw that he was getting it 100% right. I mean, he was really picking up on what everybody's strengths and weaknesses were. And I was like on the extreme left, and he just started going around it that way. So I was going to be last. And I was like, as he was going through the people, I realized, yeah, it's spot on. Now I'm curious. I'm curious what he's going to say about me, because he's going to pick out my my flaws and my strengths, and it's like, cool, that's good. And he's good, I can tell he's getting it right with everybody. And he gets to me and he goes, you I don't know, you're unpredictable. I was like, what? If your head is right, no one can touch you, you're invincible. If your head is wrong, you're useless, and I don't know what to tell you about what to do with that. I was like, well, that wasn't very fucking helpful, but that's a good point, because, and he was right, he was always right, but it didn't give me anything I didn't already kind of know, which was something I also got from reading the Iliad, which is, don't go into a fight with bad blood, or you'll spill some of it, meaning your own. Hello, BLR467. And so the point is, as you go through life, hopefully you become wiser, stronger, faster, like the Olympics. But it is generally true that you're able to handle more stress the older, more experienced you get at life. Um, Although I'm looking at the little Viking, and that dude is tough, man. Like today, I was like, oh, I just wanted to beat myself over the head with a shovel because I had him, I was holding him, and I just pulled on this old dead vine, like vine, nothing with thorns on it or anything, like a vine that you get from graves, but a dead one, and I was pulling it out. It was caught in some other brambles and stuff, and as I pulled it, it snapped, and instead of just flinging away the bit that snapped, like went straight into his eye. And luckily it just hit below his eye, but like it made him bleed. It like sort of cut him, and he was just like, oh yeah. I cried for like 10 seconds, maybe not even 10, and then he was just like, oh. And I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I was just, oh, you feel fucking horrible. And it really wasn't, I wasn't doing anything that was dangerous or that I thought, oh, I better be careful. It was just such a simple, little stupid thing that I didn't even know that a vine could even do that. And it was just so quick. I didn't have, tried to move him, but it was just too fast, and it was just like springy. I mean, I know it was, vines are springy, but not coming towards me. If it snaps, it should go away. It was just weird, and it did. It stressed me out a bit because his eye was fine; he wasn't injured or anything, but it was just like what could have happened, And it's like fuck. And then I was just feeling bad, because I like hurt the guy, and but then I realized, well, look, in the scheme of things, it's not a big deal. And when my wife saw it, of course, she was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" I was like, "Yeah, it was me. I'm a fucking idiot." And she's like, "Oh well, it happens. Sometimes I cook with the baby on my arm, and the oil splashes." Or I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Don't do that." you know. But so my stresses are generally about other people or stuff like that. I don't really have many stressors for myself, but we all have stuff. And I realized as I got older, like now compared to when I was in my 20s, it's like, man, dude, I'm like the Terminator now compared to the amount of level of stress I can handle. And some people get completely thrown out by missing a bus or being 10 minutes late at work or something. um, it's hello, bully ram. So what to do about it? Breathing exercises and all that and the other. But the thing is that definitely being Catholic absolutely helps to a degree that is hard to put into words. It's really not easy to describe the level of stress that you can handle when you don't know about God and so on. Is I've always been able to handle a lot of stress, but the way you handle it is completely different, and the level of stress is completely different. um, and it's just, being Catholic just makes it so much easier. And of course, I mean Catholic, not fake Christian and so on. Not a protty, not a churchian, one of these like that. Like, oh, yeah, God will take care of it, until you really hit the shit, and then it's like, oh my God, I I'm in trouble. It's like, wait, don't you believe in God? You know. Ben Evans says anxiety, changing job, career due to financial uncertainty. Ben, if that was something that even registered for me, I don't know when that has ever been a thing for me. It really had never been. I've been extremely poor. I've been pretty well off. And now I'm sort of heading towards extremely poor again with 4 kids in tow. So um, it's, but the secret to not having money is make more money. Uh, and if money suddenly all evaporates and doesn't exist anymore, well, better plant some potatoes or do something. You got to figure some shit out. And if you got to sweep streets, then sweep streets. And again, especially, I don't know how old you are, what your situation is, but when I was single, I didn't give a fuck about a job, about money. It was just like, whatever, I'll get a job digging holes, filling holes, kind of thing. It's not that hard. Um, of course, when you've got a family, wife, kids, and so on, then it becomes a bit more important that you're able to provide and all that. But again, I don't know, it's never really been a big issue for me, that. It's just one of the things that I know. I've changed jobs, moved countries, changed house so many times that it's just like, it's just like taking a t-shirt off and putting another t-shirt on, and it's nothing. It really is nothing. Now, I understand that for you, it's something and it's big. But again, it's like, the 2-year-old kid who gets upset because, oh, well, you're not going to let him watch his iPad when he wants to eat or something. And so he starts bawling and like throwing a tantrum. And it's really stressful for him. He really wants to play with his toy car or whatever when it's bedtime. It's a big deal for him. But it's not a big deal. And if you start to approach your life that way and you sort of think, well, yeah, I might change my job, I might lose my job, I might have no job. But, compared to somebody who is in a Chinese jail for being a dissident, you don't have a problem. No problem at all. You're like, that guy would trade places with you in a fucking millisecond. So it's good to put things in perspective. Chad says praying the rosary is an excellent anti-stressor. It really is, and I should do it more. I'm terrible at praying. It's right there. I leave it there so I can see it every day, and then I just get busy, and I just, yeah. But hopefully we might be having a priest come over, possibly this week actually, to bless the house, which would be a good thing, because I don't know, that half Jewish hippie or whatever he was that lived here before. I'm telling you, every little job just becomes like, you get right to the end, and you think, oh, and then it's like, oh no, I got to do another 3 things instead of 1 thing to finish it off. So there is that, but I'm almost taking it as a joke now, so I don't really see that as a stressor. But sometimes, when you're tired and you've really pushed hard, and then you get to the end of something, and it's like not the end, and it's like, oh, fuck. But yeah. So well, my take on it is be Catholic, do lots of hard, difficult things, and that all helps. But in a more particular sense, especially for younger people that are like all this bullshit with the COVID, and it's making it difficult for them to meet up, get a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, etc. All that. There's always way around things. So don't give up. That one of the main issues with like stressors, think about winning. It's like, well, there's this stress, I've got this problem. How do I win? Win. Make it like almost like a competitive thing with yourself, the universe, whatever the reality that's in front of you. I find that helps quite a bit. But if you have some particular stressors you want to share or ask about, then go ahead. Otherwise, I'm gonna do a short one. Unless I start talking to Woolly Ram or something, then we'll go on for 4 hours. But David Perkins, people really care about and get stressed about the wrong things. Most people get by financially. Most people also raise broken families. Absolutely right. That raising broken families thing, that's a big stressor. Actually, relationships in general have always been a pretty big stressor for me, because relationship is important. That's ideally the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. So you want those things to be good, to work well. And shall we say that in the past I may have chosen slightly poorly. And when I say slightly poorly, I mean Think Wile E. Coyote driving a bus off a cliff kind of choices. But there you go. Experience and perseverance and just a complete disregard for psychological, emotional, and physical scars will eventually get you the right girl. So I don't know, there's people popping in and out, so I'm not sure if it's because the stream is getting crappy or because you're just not interested and this is stressing you all out. But we have 12 of you, just like the apostles, and only 11 thumbs up. So there is still a Judas somewhere in there. And now it's gone to 14. Like I said, I don't know, the numbers keep floating about. So hopefully there isn't a delay, in which case I'm going to ask you guys to give me your anxieties, or totally change topic, and if it's interesting enough I'll carry on. Otherwise I think I'm gonna go to bed. It's been a very long, hectic day, and tomorrow more of the same. But the day after that, more of the same. And then the day after that, more of the same. But then we get to Saturday, and that's even double stress because there's even more work to do on a Saturday. And then there's Sunday, which with any luck might include the Mass again. Oh, the priest was awesome. The last Mass we went to he's seriously, the Sede priest, the proper Catholic priests they're full-on battle priests, man. Alright, it looks like you're all quite content, not stressed, don't have any questions about anxiety and all that, which is good. It means that you are all the good, clever little immortals. And a slight delay, okay, I'll hold on a little bit. The other thing, what was it? Oh yeah, there was some concepts of philosophy that I discussed with the cleric today, which they were quite interesting. But he was telling me how when he first came across the philosophy class, it was like the professor walked in and was like knocked on the table 3 times and then said, "How do you know that this table is there?" And he said, that quite impressed me, and I thought, yeah, this is great because we spent the next 3 hours talking about that sort of thing. I was like, man, I could have answered that question when I was 12, like in 0 seconds. It would be like, well, if I grab you by the head and smack your face in it, and you say, ow, and bleed from the nose, and I do it to the next 30 people in this room, and they all react the same, then we can empirically conclude that the table, for all intents and purposes, is indeed there. To which the cleric went, wait, so you're thinking reality is democratic? I was like, no. I think reality is empirical, factual, and measurable with the end of your nose. So, yeah, unfortunately, philosophy has degenerated into sophistry now. But actual philosophy, original philosophy, was basically logic. It was proper argument in the correct, in the classical meaning of the word. The first deity says, I'm most curious about the lives of the apostles. Do you know of a good resource? No, I don't. I can't say I do. 3-minute delay chat. Wow, that's not good. But mind you, that there has been something weird going on with the whole internet, not just my internet. I mean, I think Amazon was offline. I don't know, either Russia or China. Like nukes were going on in some places and off in other places. So I figure 3-minute delay while, Russia and America have got their nukes like going online and offline by themselves. I think I'm good, better than most. So now thank you for that, for David, for telling me that there's a 3-minute delay. gives me a chance to wait a little bit to see. Oh, oh, pardon me, if anything else comes up. Otherwise, I might just read a page of this awesome book, which I've left there for a bit. Oh, yes. I think I've read this section before. Yeah. This is Chesterton talking about the reformers or Protestants. The distinguishing mark of the reformers was a profound respect for the powers that be, but an even profounder respect for the wealth that was to be, and a really unfathomable reverence for the wealth that was to be their own. The point of historical importance could be put in another fashion, also more or less favorable to the reformers. Capitalism was not only solid, it was in a sense candid. It set up a class to be worshipped openly and frankly because of its wealth. That is the point at the moment, and the real contrast between this and the older medieval order. Such wealth was the abuse of the monks and abbots. It was the use of the merchants and the squires. The avaricious abbot violated his ideals. The avaricious employer had no ideals to violate. For there never has been, properly speaking, such a thing as the ideal good of capitalism, though there are any number of good men who are capitalists following other ideals. The Reformation, especially in England, was above all the abandonment of the attempt to rule the world by ideals, or even by ideas. The attempt had undoubtedly failed, in part because those who were supposed to be the idealists failed to uphold the ideals, and any number of people who were supposed to accept the general idea thwarted the fulfillment of the ideas. But it also fell under attack of those who hated not only those ideals, but any ideals. It was the result of the impatient and imperious appetites of humanity, hating to be restrained by bonds, but most of all, to be restrained by invisible bonds, for the English reformers did not really set up an opposite ideal or an alternative set of ideals. In other words, he's saying that the reformers were, first of all about money, which we already know from How the West Won by Rodney Stark, and the fact that they abandoned any semblance of having ideals, which is another very important point that we were talking about today, which is if you're not Catholic, the reality is that as a Protestant, you don't really believe any of this crap, as Anne Barnhart puts it when referring to nominal Catholics, and she's absolutely right. No one really believes all this stuff. Oh yes, the host turns into like the flesh of Christ, and the wine into the blood of Christ. Oh yes, yeah, let's go to mass. But they don't actually believe it. And in that sense, then, when the opportunity to make a whole bunch of money by mechanizing, enslaving, generally tyrannically taking over a bunch of people's lives, you jump at it because, hey, you don't really believe any of this crap, which is why Protestantism happened. I mean, it was indeed about money. David Perkins has a question. What is the point of waiting for marriage if you aren't going to marry a virgin? Seems cucked. Kind of is. And if you're waiting for a virgin to get married to, good luck. Got some bridges to sell you. Like, as long as the world is totally backwards, why not bend the rules to best get ahead? Well, I've been saying that myself for quite a while. It used to be like introduction, courtship, engagement, marriage, sex, children. Now it's sex, introduction. If it's good, if the sex is good, then you introduce each other. Then possibly you might get engaged. Possibly you might meet their parents. Then possibly, you'll get married, and then only perhaps you might lead them to Catholicism and good children and a good family. It's we live in the upside down world, and the only way to win in the upside down world is to upside down it yourself. So, but okay, I think we are almost half an hour in. I know there's a 3-minute delay, but I am kind of cooked. So maybe think up of some questions for the next stream, unless you have any. I'll wait a couple of minutes and then I'll call it a night. But yeah, it's been an interesting thought, really, to think what actually stresses you and why. Because that's another thing. If you can figure out why something is stressing you, often you can mitigate that problem quite a lot. And you have to be pretty brutal to figure it out sometimes, even though it seems simple or whatever, because the underlying real root of why something really upsets you or stresses you out is sometimes not as obvious as people think. But it is an internal exercise which you kind of need to do. Okay, well, I guess it was going to be a short one today. Thank you all for being here on, again, such short notice. And if you've got any bunch of questions, either save them for next time, write them down, or ping them on an email. We'll try and do the next stream an interactive one if I can. I'll try and give you guys a bit more warning. All right, have a good night all.